Hi there, welcome to another episode of SidekickTV. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Facebook in the Sidekick Business Lounge, welcome back. Today we've got a familiar face with Clive Antony. Clive's done a few videos with us, and this came from a conversation just recently where we were talking about TikTok. Now I know that we've alluded to TikTok a few times before, we've kind of teased about it. The truth of it is, I think, like myself, nearly every other small business owner in New Zealand knows next to nothing about TikTok. So we're going to go a bit of a deep dive into it today. Yep. So look, without further ado, Clive, tell us please, what is TikTok now, and what do you think it's going to be in 5 years' time?
Cheers, Rick. So it's pretty wild how TikTok's kind of grown. I remember this time last year, I had a bit of a chat at the chamber about sort of social media and stuff. And I was saying to my team, I'm going to talk about TikTok, and we all got laughed at, and it was all pretty funny. And but then, of course, the COVID lockdown happened, and I think that was a huge sort of pendulum shift for TikTok, and that people were bored at home, they didn't know what they were going to be doing, and it just became another source of entertainment. And so we saw TikTok really grow over the last year. So for those who don't know, TikTok is a social media platform. They originally used to be called Musical.ly, and so it was an app where people could almost mimic parts of songs or stuff like that and sort of share those with their friends. They sort of rebranded and sort of changed their wheelhouse a little bit to be a bit more of a video generation, short form video generation app. For those of you who might remember Vine from about 5 or 6, probably even 10 years ago now, it's kind of the next iteration of that. And so basically you can just scroll through TikTok in sort of vertical format videos, and they're short. They range from 6 seconds to 10 seconds, to a minute. And they range from sort of, I guess, mimicking people in songs, viral like trends. So think of the ice bucket challenge, but what that would look like in 2021. And also just general content now of everything. So it's a real interesting space to play in. And there's so much more growth to see it. I think it's got to the point now where businesses need to start sort of paying attention to what's happening there. It's no longer an experiment. The Gen Z generation are very much active on that space now, and so if businesses are looking to attract those type of people, TikTok is definitely worth looking at. Where do I see it in 5-10 years time? Who knows about 10, but definitely in the short middle term. I see it a little bit like YouTube, in the sense that everyone, or a lot of people, do go and engage with YouTube, but not necessarily everyone on there is a YouTube creator. And so if you think about us with Facebook and Instagram, if you've got an account, there's a good chance you've probably posted a status or a photo or something on Facebook. But with YouTube, you can spend a lot of time watching on there, but you're not necessarily creating videos. And I kind of see that with TikTok as well, which will introduce older markets and demographics into that platform too. Yeah,
because right now it very much feels like, why should I be on TikTok? I've nothing I want to share.
Yeah.
Because it's as much about the producers as it is the consumers.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned YouTube. Didn't YouTube start off as some obscure idea, like 20 odd years ago? It was like a how-to videos or something?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's funny how, and this is, I guess, the creativity and the smartness of the people behind those apps, how they managed to adapt and identify those opportunities. And I think when it was originally Musical.ly, it was just an app full of younger people's attention. And so how did they manage to flip that to create it into something that's a bit more generic? And I think they've done that quite successfully. It's interesting.
So we've spoken a bit that Gen Zs are on TikTok currently, where we're talking about people focusing their efforts and energies, right? Who's on TikTok now? What are we expecting that to evolve? I mean, we're talking, age, location, behaviours, consumer habits. Can you tell me who's currently on?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of who's currently on there, all the research really points to that 18 to 24 graphic. So that's sort of that Gen Z space. Anecdotally, talking to some of my younger cousins and stuff, as young as 13, they're on the platform, they're engaging, they're not posting, but they're engaging, watching. But then you go all the way through to, we've got, clients and sort of families and friends and stuff like that, and sort of, late 40s, but really enjoy, I guess, technology and fashion from that Instagram sort of space. And they will tell you quietly that they're on TikTok. They don't want to admit it out loud publicly, but they will tell you, oh yeah, no, I've got it on my phone and I'll watch it for 5 minutes, it turns to 3 hours at night and stuff like that. So I think there's a big sort of demographic on there, but really it's that sort of Gen Z and millennial you're looking at. Interestingly enough, if you put aside TikTok influencers, actually some of the biggest brands on TikTok in terms of industries we're seeing is sports, entertainment specifically. And it's really, and we can sort of see why that's happening is because it's all about content. And they've got the ability to produce content, rehash that content on the platform, and they're seeing sort of a lot of advantages from doing that.
Yeah, and that sounds to me like it's the first challenge of this, isn't it? If you've got 60 seconds to say something interesting, you know, we do accountancy, there's very little interesting there.
Yeah.
And to do it in 60 seconds, although I've got some ideas, it's challenging.
Yeah.
If you're sports, highlight reels, fashion, showing product, is it going to be the in New Zealand in particular, small businesses, we're going to see it's more the product-driven businesses rather than service-driven businesses that will dive in first?
Yeah, I think so. Mainly because the one thing about TikTok is that it's a lot of the content on there is you can either have super curated content, so for example, sports highlight reels, which is obviously they've had it for another platform like a YouTube or a Facebook, and they've repurposed it for TikTok. But when they repurpose it, the video doesn't look perfect on the channel. There's still a rawness to it, so that does really well. And at the same time, we've seen a lot of the biggest TikTok influencers literally a lot of them are dancers or musicians or something, and they haven't got crazy high production videos that we're used to. It's just them in front of their camera in their bathroom or in their bedroom or something like that. And so what that's kind of telling us is that people on TikTok actually want to see authentic. It comes back to that authentic content thing again. We've talked about it before. It's people want to see content that they can engage in, they feel like they're not being sold to. And the biggest difference we've seen with Gen Z and all the other generations is that brands need to work really, really hard to be part of that community, as opposed to creating a community for consumers to come into. So it's kind of the other way around now. And so I think you're right, it's going to be products before service, because it's something that people can kind of latch onto if the product does a really good job of making them feel like, yes, we are part of your community, or we want to be part of your community. So it's while the attention is there and the organic reach on TikTok is really, really favorable at the moment, it does come down to that content piece. So you're creating content that's actually going to connect and be authentic to the audience that you're trying to reach.
Yeah. And that takes us on to the next bit of, how do you make money out of using TikTok? And you just went and showed me some scary numbers. So can you talk us through, right? Let's say I am a small business in New Zealand, right? I sell trainers, right? How am I going to make TikTok work for me?
So some good and bad news. Some bad news is that at the moment the paid advertising side of it is quite expensive. So at the moment we've been with the media buyers that we deal with and we engage with for some of our clients. For TikTok, it can get up to 12,500 a day. And this is TikTok's ad strategy at the moment to actually encourage all the bigger businesses to come in, spend some money, and really obviously build up their space on TikTok there. So they know they've got a premium and they're trying to capitalize on that.
So that's not too far off 5 million a year.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously not for small businesses, but in saying that, we do need to keep an eye out, because TikTok does have a self-service ad manager like Facebook and Instagram do. So we've got, at Antony Mates, we've got that ad platform available. But to buy ads on that self-service ad platform manager for that significantly cheaper price, that service isn't available in New Zealand yet. It's just Australia. And so we're keeping a really close eye on when that switch gets flicked, and we can start rolling out ads for for our clients in that sort of SME space. But in saying that, I've heard of clients sort of in the North Island, particularly in that recruitment space, looking to get young people, and they've engaged TikTok advertising because for them they realised that actually that return on investment was going to make sense for them. So there are some sort of niche places where people are spending that sort of 7 to 12.5K, but their minimum spend for the advertising is 7,000. The other way of going about it is engaging TikTok influencers. So these are younger people traditionally who have quite a lot of followers on TikTok, and actually seeing if you can do a brand collaboration with them. And that sort of comes down to, so I guess if we're talking about trainers, is there some free product and some money involved for them to make some pieces of content so they can share to their followers and stuff. So those semi-traditional ways of using influencers still work for TikTok as well at the moment. So that could be a way for sort of SMEs in New Zealand to start sort of looking at that platform.
It's nearly hilarious that, you know, talking about influencers being a traditional...
Yeah, I know. When I was saying it, I was thinking to myself, that's not even that old now. Like, what? That's why I want to say semi. Did it sound right? Like, you know, oh, it's bizarre. And that's the thing, this world just moves so quickly in social media advertising, doesn't it? So...
Well, like you say, a year ago you were laughed at saying we're going to talk about TikTok. Now it's like, oh, we've got to do something. Like, people need to know something about TikTok. And like you say, the tides are changing just so quickly. Yeah,
and look, in saying that, if there is a small business out there and they do have an in-house creator, or, you know, like a sports team, they've got highlight reels, they've got old content they can repurpose and put onto TikTok. The organic reach on TikTok right now is great. So it is something that, you know, if the content was already there in-house, SMEs could use it for free. Great. And hopefully get some sort of success using hashtags and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so it's like just content. Start with content, get the content out there, up to 60-second videos, got to be interesting, genuine, appeal to typically the Gen Z market. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
And no, it's watch the space, because it's going to get really interesting. And it's the first time in a while that we're seeing a social media app that's not American based either. So to see how those giants are going to play at that sort of corporate level as well, it's going to be really interesting. So yeah, lots to watch.
Can you tell us just on that, and this wasn't a scripted question, what is the ownership model of TikTok?
Well, I think it's owned, now I need to be careful, I'm not sure, but I know it is Chinese owned, so I'm assuming the government must be involved in some way. But I'm saying that that's not anything, there's no reason to be startled about it or anything.
I mean, if anything's on American servers, the CIA have access to it. So,
I mean, it's just really fascinating to think at, you know, we're sort of talking about wider social media now. We've seen Apple with their iOS 14 changes and how that's going to affect privacy for consumers and stuff, how that's going to play out. And so, you know, and that's just between Apple and Facebook. So now when you add someone from another nation state coming through as well with their big platform with a whole lot of attention.
And I think that's it. I mean, you know, if people are genuinely concerned about privacy right now, they're probably not going to see this video, because if you've got Instagram on your phone, if you've got Facebook on your phone, we were having a conversation the other day about what bank activity is happening. So, you know, hopefully no one's too terrified of a social credit score, because it's happening.
Yeah, Black Mirror is definitely happening. So,
So, anyway, we digress. Let's not, okay? TikTok, okay? If you sell to Gen Zers and you've got content that you can get out there, then by the sounds of it, this is just going to be a fantastic opportunity for you. And even, like you say, not paying for it is going to be very expensive, but actually, if you've got the content, the organic side of it,
it's fine.
Yeah,
it's good to go. I think, what was it? I think was one of the EPL teams, or might have been the English Premier League account in general. They're just throwing out highlights, and they increased their TikTok following about like 6 million followers last year or something like that. Wow, just crazy numbers out there. One of the biggest social media TikTok influencers. She's got 50.8 million. That's just all off organic reach. Likes and stuff don't matter. The algorithm is really based on it's sort of tracking how long people watch a video for in the back room, and that's how they're creating the algorithm. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
And apparently it's got some of the most incredible artificial intelligence in the background that will then find similar videos and place them, because they want the attention of the user, don't they?
Yeah, so that's actually really, we haven't touched on this yet. So if you think about your Facebook newsfeed, your Instagram newsfeed, it's called your newsfeed, right? In theory, that's curated off the pages that you've liked, some sponsored ad based on analytics and everything. TikTok has kind of sort of flipped it down the other way around. They've got this page called the For You page, and then basically that's that algorithm of curated content. So it's not actually you're not necessarily seeing content from people that you follow actively on TikTok. It's basically the algorithm saying, oh yeah, you watched that last video that was 1 minute long, but you watched that for 55 seconds, so you must like that. Let's deliver you something like that again and again and again. Yeah. So you don't actually have to follow the people you want to for TikTok to deliver the content that you want.
Yeah. And that's probably where that organic opportunity exists 100%. Because if people are engaging with content that's similar to the content you can put out there, then you by association are going to get that following and that kudos.
Yeah, real interesting.
Perfect. Hey, thanks so much, Clive. That was excellent again. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and educational. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you.